Can I tell you how the courts and the people are working together to defeat this administration? Here's something you might not know. So there's a third lawsuit, a class action lawsuit filed in Colorado on behalf of people who have been subject to Department of Homeland Security and ICE unlawful search, seizure, and detainment based on the fact that they are brown, they look Hispanic or Latino or foreign, they speak another language, and they may, be whatever. For whatever reason, it's random. And it's on behalf of Coloradans. The named plaintiffs in the Colorado lawsuit is a green card holder, which means permanent resident who has 4 U.S. citizenship children, a asylum seeker, a DACA recipient, and another person. I think they are on a TPSS. I'm not quite sure. It's on behalf of all Colorado residents who've been subject to DHS unlawful search and seizure. There is another similar class action lawsuit in Alabama, and there's one in D.C. Similar things. Now, here's how the courts are going to help those people in their lawsuits. Listen up. If you follow my account, JJ Legal, I'm in the dockets. I follow the lawsuits filed against the Trump administration and those the Trump administration filed against others. And this weekend, there was actually on Friday, there was a hearing. Judge Sarah Ellis in Chicago. She's the judge that was assigned the case where the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, joined by California, I think, tried to get the Trump administration or DHS out. And like, you cannot deploy troops. But in particular, her case had to do with the journalists who were pepper sprayed. And on behalf of them and the First Amendment rights of protesters, went to Judge Ellis and asked for a temporary restraining order while the lawsuit continues. And she granted it. She said, yes, I agree. I'm going to pause. You guys should not be doing this. You need to not be spraying people, not be pepper spraying or bombing and doing projectiles. And if you need to do it, because I recognize crowd dispersement can be an issue, crowd control could be an issue, you need to do your job as law enforcement. You need to let people know, give them warnings. Say, hey, you guys got to back up. If you don't, we're going to pepper spray. Give them time. Give them warning. Give them time. You can't just in the middle of them exercising their First Amendment right, just marching, boom, boom, and boom, pepper spray. That's not going to work. And I don't need you to wear body cameras. So that's what she ordered, like something like Wednesday. By Thursday, on the news, she sees all this footage. There's a crash because ICE agents was chasing some person. They don't know the law. They're not law enforcement. I don't know what the hell they're doing. There was then she sees a gun being pointed in a 17-year-old's face, and she sees smoke bombs. She calls them in Friday. She said, "Hello, didn't I tell you don't do this? You're violating my order. What's going to happen?" So during the hearing, essentially they were saying, "Oh no, that was not a minor. That wasn't a juvenile. They were like, she's 17." So in the nutshell, during that hearing, she was like, you know what you guys aren't doing, what you're supposed to be doing. She asked, is anyone disciplined for excessive force? And they were like, no. She was like, okay, so you said there was body camera footage, but I saw some people who didn't have body cameras. What's up with that? She also said, I saw evidence of just, you hit this preacher right here, this pastor. What's going on there? He said, oh, we told him to leave and he didn't leave. The pastor said they didn't get any warning. He was just praying, and we saw the videos. The pastor was just praying. They didn't say anything to him, and boom.
We could hear them laughing as they were shooting us from the roof, and it was deeply disturbing. We've gotten to witness a few things about these ICE agents operating in broad view, and really what it has shown us is how disorganized they are and how poorly supervised and trained they are. We've also heard ICE agents talking to each other, one of whom said, man, I don't even remember why I'm here anymore. And the other said, I don't know either. So there's a deep demoralization that we are seeing as we're bringing this peaceful and spiritual protest against their tactics and what they are doing to our city and our communities and our neighbors.
So she's like, you know what? I need Greg Bovino. I need, what's his name? Not Lester Holt. Whatever the guy is. He actually, one of the persons who's in charge left. The minute she says come in for the hearing on Friday, he left. You know why he left? Trump 2.0 know that Trump 1.0, a lot of the Trump people, and I'm going to put it here, a list of here, went to jail. One of the reasons they went to jail is because of perjury, because of contempt of Congress, because of not coming before, just being like, knowing that Donald Trump, if he went back into office, he would pardon him. He did pardon, and what's his face? Roger Stone avoided jail time, but Steve Bannon, a bunch of other ones, Michael Cohen, they did go to jail. And so there is some accountability. And so Trump 2.0 know that his term, the statute of limitations, 5 years. He's not going to be in office forever. Donald Trump recently on a through social post said to everyone, hey, you guys better do what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm not going to be here to protect you forever. And they know that he's not going to be there. No matter what Steve Bannon says, he's grifting about Trump 2028. Ignore Steve Bannon. He's a tool. He's not going to be here forever. And he said, sidebar, I also don't understand the narrative for the third term because he's destroyed his credibility amongst the base, the low income, the Latino, all the voters that put him in place, including the Gen Z voters. And he has one foot in the grave. So I'm not even quite sure why they think he would even be voted in. 29 years old. He's cognitive decline and his body is falling apart. So he's not going to be here forever. So they know this. So what they do is try to avoid having to go under oath. So that's why Holt, I forget his first name, left. And they updated the docket to say, oh, he's not here anymore. He's been reassigned. He's gone back to D.C. She was like, okay, whatever. I need him to be able to be subject to a deposition, meaning the other side get the chance to question him under oath. So he can leave all he wants and go back to D.C. all he wants. In terms of this case, in terms of the fact that he was the one responsible for it, he's going to have to answer in a deposition under oath. So that's when they have the opportunity to either lie, and then in the future there's a perjury charge, or tell the truth. And what happens when they tell the truth? Now, the folks who filed the class action lawsuits can actually take judicial notice. The judges in those cases can take judicial notice of what's going on in the dockets in Chicago and use those admissions and those documents that's going on in the Chicago case in the class action lawsuit cases. It's symbiotic. This is like this resistance is we're all working together. The courts, the people filing the class action lawsuits, the state attorney generals who are fighting to after each time Donald Trump rescinds and claws back funding that's already allocated for FEMA, for infrastructure projects, because he's mad that these quote unquote sanctuary states aren't participating. Donald Trump has sued the state of Illinois. He did it the first term and he did it this term. And both times the judge was like, dude, you can't do that. 10th Amendment, sovereignty, separation, federalism, you can't force them. You can't sue. And he's tried to take grants. And each time he tried to take grants from New York City, tried to take grants from Illinois, tried to take grants from, he's now trying to take grants from Minnesota, Minneapolis. He's trying to take grants from, Colorado, so Denver. He's going on taking grants from blue cities. And each time they do that, the blue cities have to file a lawsuit. And he loses because he can't do that. And he's going to keep losing. He does what's called lawfare. He files these things in order to have the headlines. A lot of people just see the headlines and they see that he doesn't like initially comply when there's a court order. But I'm telling you, I'm pushing in the dockets. My name is JG Legal. And that's what I do is I monitor these lawsuits filed against the Trump administration and those the Trump administration filed against others. And in the dockets, I'm seeing to extend to where they actually give people passports. They return their funding. They bring people back in the country, not a lot of times, but they do. They take people off of planes they're about to deport and put them back in the place, children to the next extent. They restore websites that were taken down. They they do a lot of things. They issue memos rescinding whatever the hell executive order they did pursuant to Donald Trump's crackhead executive orders. So they comply eventually, reluctantly, after sometimes the plaintiffs have to go back to court and say, hey, they didn't comply. So they do comply, but there's no news, there's no fanfare behind it. So if you're interested in that, follow me, let other people know so you can feel a little self-assured that they do comply. So because they do comply, that's why Donald Trump, if you probably heard, has been trying, according to Project 2025, their thing was like to invoke the Insurrection Act because they know they're going to just ignore the law, they'd ignore the Constitution, and the only thing that's going to kind of drag them back is the courts. So if he were to invoke the Insurrection Act, that kind of suspends the courts. But here's the thing, Insurrection Act is not independent, as we're learning now. There's certain standards. It has to be rebellion, organized rebellion to overthrow the government. There's there's no concerted, planned, like organized effort to overthrow the government. No, that was what Donald Trump did. That was January 6th to subvert the will of the people, overthrow violate the law, and refuse to install Joe Biden. That was an insurrection. What these people doing, loose conglomeration of various different protesters, a pastor here, a church group here, they're not trying to overthrow the government. They're just trying to stop ICE. They're just trying to protect their neighbors. That's it. That doesn't qualify. So there's no armed rebellion. And then also a lot of times the states was like, we can handle it. The reason why you probably heard in I think it's the Portland case or Chicago case, the courts are reversed at Ninth Circuit. So it's in Portland or California. They're reversing themselves because the Trump administration, it's this crazy thing. When the dockets I've shared before, the blotters, the police shows like 30, 20, 100 protesters. You don't need all these military troops from Texas, from California, federalized troops who aren't skilled in law enforcement to come and assist the local for 30 people. And that's why the Court of Appeals are like, nah, that's all right. You're lying. They're lying. They're making up stuff. So that's what they do. They do lie. If you follow me, one of the things I say is they lie on the dockets often. They make up mistakes, and then that's why they lose. They're losing not because they're activist judges or they're leftist judges, because they're violating the law, the Constitution, the Administrative Procedure Act. They're violating the law all the time, every time. Donald Trump is a criminal. He's a 34-time criminal. He's a goon. He's a grifter. He's a crime agent. He has in his cabinet a bunch of I call them psychopathic, sociopathic sycophants who are cruel and sadistic, and they love inflicting pain on their fellow humans. And they're the villains. It's so funny. Russell Volt thought that he could make the federal workers be the villain. All the evil shit you guys are doing, and what world do you think, you little cretin, they will be the villain and you guys aren't? You guys are the band of villains. Anyway, so that's the update. So you should know that those class action lawsuits are out there. The judges, the resistance is active, it's working, and we're fighting back. And it's just a matter of time. They're going to pay. JJ Legal, each one teach one. Share this video so more people know. And watch the playlist. And check out my